We are wrestling. We are wrestling podcast.
They give a shout out to We Are Wrestling on YouTube.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling.
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Ben here, the third of the talk show.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, the second half of We Are Wrestling, and today we have an amazing fucking show, and we are getting closer to fucking SummerSlam, boy, the biggest party of the summer! How you guys doing? Before we get into all that crazy shit, Don, hit him with the sauce, boy.
That's right. We are 1 week away from SummerSlam. We have the biggest blockbuster watch-along of the summer live on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel
I'm so
next
excited.
Saturday for SummerSlam. You're definitely not going to want to miss it. But before, we dive into this week's episode of the podcast, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, download this episode. It helps the algorithm. Give us a 5-star review, not just a 5-star review, but a best one review. And if you're watching this, you already know the drill. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real.
How was that for times 10?
That was a 10 out of 10. I think Sean Spears,
Fuck yeah.
Ty Dillinger would be so happy with that.
Oh, fuck yeah,
Give
man.
that a 10.
Let's go. Top shelf that shit.
But man, we're just a week away from SummerSlam. How you feeling?
Oh, I fucking love SummerSlam so much. It almost feels like almost as surprising as WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble. Though, like SummerSlam and the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, I feel like are just the top 3 out of the big 5, just because those are marquee matches. Like every single one of those pay-per-view just contains marquee fucking matches. Minus fucking Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is like the epitome of surprises and like basically is the entire season's like reverb and just resurgence, because it almost kind of like embarks on like the lead up to the ending of like a season finale, and then WrestleMania is where the season resets, so it's really exciting. And every SummerSlam in the past couple years has been fucking awesome, especially last year with Triple H's first helmed SummerSlam. I'm really excited on what we got going on this year.
I was over your house too for that.
Yeah, that's the only time I ever
I
hosted
took the Prime bottle at Danny on the way to your house.
Prime. I remember that. Yeah,
man,
that
I
was
gotta
a good
say
time.
I gotta say the SummerSlam this year, they are definitely stacking it up. I think they've done a
Yeah.
fantastic job with long-term storytelling. I feel like there are some fans that are just ready for Trish and Becky to end, Cody and Brock to end.
Oh,
But
yeah.
here's the thing.
It's
A lot
time.
of us wrestling fans throughout the years, we were complaining about long-term storytelling, that we weren't getting it. Now all of a sudden we're getting it, and it's a problem.
Because they're just like, oh, it's too fucking long. The Bloodline story's been going on for 3 years. Yeah, and it's all been fucking great. Do you understand how much depth that fucking storyline has? The Bloodline story in terms of long-term storytelling is going to be so fucking hard to top. by anybody, including WWE themselves. They really outdid themselves with this whole long-term storytelling. And to think about the fact that this was all on the fly is nuts. Because it's been so good.
Well, that's one thing that, WWE does have is a lot of experienced, guys on their creative team, like Bruce Pritchard, who, has done long-term storytelling, and having, some of these veterans behind the scenes, pretty much telling the story with the bloodline. They've done a fantastic job. And it seems like they're swerving us. Like, we know it's going to happen, but when is it going to happen? That's the big thing that I've, taken from this entire bloodline story angle.
And honestly, I was honestly one of those fans that was really upset about how long this fucking story was taking until Jey Uso finally super kicked the fuck out of Roman. And fucking, that was the first in it, like the initial, like, okay, I think I'm cool with this. The moment he pinned Roman is where I'm like, it was all worth it. It was all worth it. Right there, I was just like, even though that the title wasn't gone, that fucking long term from it started with Jey, it ended with Jey was really sweet. And I understood at that initial moment where I was just like, all right, this is fucking phenomenal. Like, this really was needed. This 3-year journey.
I gotta ask
needed.
you something.
What up?
When was that? When Jey pinned Roman?
The last pay-per-view?
That was Money in the Bank, right?
Yes.
The day Danny became a really toxic wrestling fan.
The day we ended up in a thumbnail.
Happened, he has not been happy with WWE.
Yeah, as soon as he got pinned, he has been fucking toxic.
And we called it on the podcast too. I think that's what happened. Like, his ego got a little bit
it got shattered. It didn't just get fucking stung. It got shattered right there. I'm like, dude, we're like, yeah, he's gonna get pinned. He's gonna get pinned. This is gonna be the first fucking pin. He's like, no, the fuck he's not. No, he's fucking not. I'm gonna be so fucking pissed. And it happened. I'm like, honestly, stay mad.
Yeah. So Danny, guys, the reason why he hasn't been on the We Are Wrestling podcast is because ever since that moment happened at Money in the Bank, where Roman got pinned for the first time since Baron Corbin back in 2020. He has not been happy with it, and he's been very negative and toxic.
Speaking of which, off topic, and I'm sure we'll get there. Baron Corbin's been on my mind lately too, but we'll get there. But yeah, no, 100%. That definitely was the moment when it all just changed. I was just like, all right, I can understand to an extent, but all right.
It needed to happen. That's
it needed it. I have a feeling. I genuinely have a feeling we might be seeing a new champion on Saturday, on fucking August 5th. I have a feeling. I just have a strange fucking feeling. Even if it's just a fucking quick thing, I have a weird feeling, man. And I don't get weird feelings often. Not like this. Not like this.
I'm sorry to tell you this. I do think Roman is going to come out as champion.
Don't say it. Don't say
it.
I
will say this, though. If Jey does pull an upset and win the championship, we're never going to see another Danny live stream again.
I'm sorry.
We're never going to see Danny on the podcast ever again.
It just seems right, especially with the shape he has been getting in over the last year. Dude. The dude has been getting ready for something.
Jimmy is going to turn on his brother. It's going to happen.
Probably, and if it's likely, what I could see happening is him winning the title and his brother wanting it. And it's gonna want
Detroit.
And he's gonna want to fucking Jimmy's gonna want that title if fucking Jey wins it, and I can see that being the reason why, because now he is the island of relevancy. He is the tribal chief now. But eventually, we are getting Solo versus Roman for the title of tribal chief. There was nothing said about a championship. There was nothing said about that. It was just terms of who the fuck the tribal chief is. And Solo wants that. He doesn't give a fuck about a title. He doesn't give a fuck about a title. He doesn't see the type.
Have you been seeing his facial expressions at Jey? He wants to kill him.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Love it.
Solo Sikoa has one of the most piercing gazes I have ever seen in a fucking wrestling ring. Period. Like, that dude has one of the most murderous expressions I have ever seen, and it's convincing. So when I saw that fucking interview that he did, I think with either Ariel or fucking Chris Van Vliet or somebody, where he broke character and was just genuinely like, talking as a normal person, I was so uncomfortable for that entire interview because I was just like, all right, so I know that this is virtual, but when's that spike coming out?
I felt like that when we met Karrion Kross at Northeast Wrestling.
I'm still fucking reeling in from that, bro. I'm still reeling in from that. Like, he is, like, again, referring to the interview we're going to be diving into later with Chris Van Vliet and Cody. Like, even Cody was saying, like, fucking Karrion Kross is one of, like, the nicest dudes he's talked to, and he's, like, one of just the nicest people. And I'm like, dude, Karrion's a fucking dick on screen. So I'm like, that's kind of fucking awesome. That dude, like, I wasn't expecting Cody of all people to pull out Karrion.
Me either.
So I'm like, honestly, I love how insightful this is. He's really giving these people that have really needed the recognition a platform. And I love that. I love that about Cody. And I love that about Karrion Kross, because that just kind of confirms that he has so much layers underneath that angry harbingeristic exterior.
And speaking of Northeast Wrestling, to all the listeners, to all the watchers on this week's episode of the podcast, if you haven't had a chance yet to go check out my first GCW wrestling show vlog, it just came out on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, recommend you guys to. Definitely a fun vlog and definitely a cool experience. And if GCW does come to your area, gotta tell you guys, I recommend you to definitely go to one of their shows. Definitely reminds me of like an old school ECW, which was cool.
Now, is GCW like obviously other than AEW, GCW, are they like mostly known for like holding death matches?
They are, yes.
Okay, all right, yeah, because you saw Nick Gage there, right?
Yep, Nick Gage. He's been there since day one. I know John Moxley getting into
Moxley
the
and
business.
him were
He
fucking
done stuff for years. Joey
him and
Janela.
Joey
I don't know.
Janela,
Did you ever see that?
Jesus.
Did you ever see that viral clip on YouTube of two wrestlers fighting? They were on top of a roof and
I do.
they did this move on somebody, and then like it was on a truck and it had a bunch of glass and other
Yep,
stuff.
I remember. Yeah, man. And
GCW.
fucking Nick Gage and fucking Mox have had like plenty of fucking classic death matches, right?
Yep.
Like they've had plenty of his upbringing, because like Mox would only do death matches for a while, right? Because that's why he's like so fearless. I'm gonna use the term fearless. Because
And right now, of course, we got the Deathmatch King. We got the indie god Matt Cardona over there making a lot of noise.
That is one match I would love to
helped them.
see. A triple threat fucking death match for a world title. John Moxley, Matt Cardona, and Nick Gage all in a fucking match, dude. I would lose my shit. Lose my shit, dude. Oh, I would fucking cry. Sorry. I just needed that to be known. That's a dream match right there.
But guys, I recommend you to go check that vlog out. It is up on the We Are Wrestling YouTube
always good time.
channel. Speaking of meet and greet experiences,
Yes.
I've been traveling a lot since
Yeah,
our last
baby!
time on the podcast. So last Saturday when the podcast came out, I met Mick Foley yet again at Zombie Hideout.
My dude.
And this past Tuesday, I drove to Albany, New York, went to Heroes Hideout where we met Sting last year, and I got to meet Adam Cole, baby, and I met Britt Baker again.
And I met Britt Baker. You went to the doctors and met Adam Cole.
Yes, I did.
Fuck yeah, man. How was that, by the way? Like, what's Adam like in real life? Like, is he genuinely a nice dude?
Such a nice guy. I couldn't believe it. Like, seeing
Good.
everybody's reactions to the meet and greet experience, nothing but positive things were said. I think the way Heroes Hideout handled the meet and greet, I think, was way better than it was in the past, especially at, the wrestling conventions and Sting. I think the way they handled this Adam Cole and Britt Baker meet and greet was a 10 out of 10. I was very impressed. And
Sting wasn't terrible.
Such a great meet and greet experience.
That's got to
and
be awesome for everybody involved.
And here's
because
the cool
Adam
part,
Cole,
though. Here's the cool thing about the Adam Cole and Britt Baker meet and greet.
Yeah.
So, somebody behind me, they're having some issue, I think, with like Venmo, trying to Venmo like the money to like get an additional autograph.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sitting there talking to Britt Baker and Adam Cole for like 5 minutes, which was
Okay.
pretty cool.
Fuck yeah.
And Britt Baker, she loved my Jordan 12s. She loved
Hell
the
yeah.
heat. And Adam Cole, I was telling him the story about MJF being We Are Wrestling Maniac. He loved it. Told
Hell
me he
yeah,
was going
man.
to go check it out right after he was done with this.
Dude, fuck yeah, man. I love that. And I feel like a lot of, the warm reception of the fact is it's so rare meeting guys like Adam Cole because they were stuck in WWE for a while. With WWE, you obviously know unless you pay tens of thousands of fucking dollars or just, a shit ton of money, you can't really see them. And a lot of the time, the people that they do bring out, they're not really needle movers per se. So, the fact that you got to meet Adam Cole of all people, who has had, again, a great career in NXT. He's killing it in AEW with MJF right now. He's got really good content, a really good tag team going on until
Hey,
they
man,
end
you
up
can't
obviously
forget
feuding.
that Ring of Honor run before
Ring of
NXT.
Honor run. Yeah, like his fucking his Randy Orton impression is spot on. Like it just, I feel like that Adam Cole, everybody was treated that got to meet him 100%. I'm hellaciously jealous. Hellaciously jealous.
Yeah, and of course, at these meet and greets, I get a lot of things signed, and I figured, since I didn't vlog the experience, why not show the stuff off on the podcast?
Let's
so to the
fucking go.
listeners, I'm sorry that you can't see it.
Tune into YouTube to see
But
the visuals.
you can hear it.
You can hear the greatness, baby.
But before I do show off this stuff, another thing I do got to say as well is shout out to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that I met while I was at the Adam Cole meet and greet. I got to talk to some of you guys, and it was just a great time. Such a great time.
Fuck yeah.
But
man.
here's the first thing I got signed. I've been holding it on my lap for 20 minutes now. I got my NXT Championship signed.
Oh, fuck yeah.
By Adam Cole, baby. Which, that's the wrong side. We botched that one.
That was, which scribble was that?
So Adam Cole, he's got right there the nice paint marker, the nice gray paint marker.
Fuck yeah! All right, so who was that first fucking smudge that you showed us?
So the first one, that is Aleister Black.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got that signed while we were at fucking Northeast. That's right, out in Danbury.
That's right. That was the same day as the Wrestling Classic too. So I ended up getting Johnny Wrestling, Aleister Black, and Karrion Kross assignments all within the same day.
That's right, because you fucking went to the Wrestling Classic real quick, and then you dipped, and then you came to pick up me and Dan, and John, and we fucking flew out to fucking to Danbury. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I had to get the longest reigning NXT champion, Adam Cole, on here, and he asked me if he wanted. And the funny thing is, he asked me if he wanted me to have him sign this in the same color as everybody else, and I said no.
I was like, you were literally
I
the
need
longest
your signature
reigning.
to stand out.
Yeah. And he was just like, oh, I appreciate that, man. Well, dude, he's the longest reigning NXT champion. Like, that has to stand out. He set the standard, the literal gold standard, no pun intended. Like, he literally set that for NXT champions, to come. And honestly, if I'm going to be realistic, other than Karrion Kross, because Karrion Kross's title reign was pretty fucking fantastic, in my opinion. Like, I actually have seen a good amount of his title reign. And that was honestly one of the last times I saw him as legitimately prestigious. He really does need a solid push on the main roster, but that's a convo for another time. I'm not hating. I do like his program with AJ, though. I will say 100%, though, the last good NXT champion, in my opinion, was Karrion Kross, other than Adam Cole. Because at least it felt like it was prestigious, It felt like you just tackled God to get this, So it's shit like that, yeah.
It
so
was a very popular
did.
era in NXT, though. So
I'm glad. I'm very glad that you had it stand out 100%, because that's the right thing to do.
I also got this Supreme Britt Baker signed as well.
Fuck yeah.
For the collection. I do love these little Supreme figures. I think that, the way that
that's
AEW
really
does their
nice packaging.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Dude, compared to like the WWE Ultimate Editions, like I wish I could show you a picture of them, like to see the difference of the packaging. I love the way the AEW does their packaging.
Dude, that was actually a beautiful fucking package. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a huge on packagings. That's because that realistically is like what like initiates me to like keep it in there. Is like, all right, this ain't coming out.
That's the big thing about Funko Pops, man. I will not buy a pop unless the box represents the pop. I'm very strict about that.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. Like, it's so important, and that's another reason as to why I'm like kind of like peeved with WWE with their packaging of a lot of their like their products and stuff, especially like figures. Is they have so much money, so it's like you could be doing crazy type of like almost steel books, but for fucking action figures. You know, you could be doing like limited edition fucking like steel books. But you're not. You're giving us like kind of garbage packaging, you know? I mean, like I don't even think I've seen one where I'm just like, ooh, I need that figure just because it looks nice in the box. I've seen
I'll show
plenty
you
of
one.
AEW
I will
figures
show you
where-
one throughout this here.
Okay, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
another one I ended up getting signed was my unrivaled Adam Cole figure here. This is his first one in AEW.
I genuinely enjoy the fact that you get like the fucking like hanging clear cases and everything for them. I genuinely enjoy that.
Gotta, man. Gotta protect them.
Oh yeah, gotta keep
At
it in
all
good
costs.
condition. Resale value, bro.
And I got the
Hell
Target
yeah.
exclusive. Just came out too with the
Oh,
red, paint
shit.
marker.
Fuck yeah, that's the Target exclusive. Is that
That's
why like
right.
the packaging is like shiny red, like that
Yep,
scarlet red?
shiny red, man. At the top it says only at Target.
Fuck yeah, that's fucking sweet. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, you
And
probably
then
got a
over
gold line
here,
in that
my
bitch.
last figure I ended up getting signed while here was my other Britt Baker.
Oh
with the
fuck yeah.
red.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Dig that shit, dude. Yeah,
And then, of
every-
course, with Mick Foley as well, because Zombie
Yellow.
Hideout, they had him over there last Saturday. And,
Please tell
man,
me you
what a
got
great
something signed in yellow.
experience. Mick, always such a nice guy, always goes way beyond for people. And
I'll tell you a
if
story
you
if
met
you want.
him, I was just going to say, you met him as well when you were younger. So I would love for you to share your story with the Maniacs.
So, story time. I was younger.
Story
My brother...
time with Ben, baby.
Yeah. So my brother actually remembers the whole experience. I actually remember nothing because I was 3, but I believe it because again, dude has never really fucking lied to me in his entire life. My parents
hope
have
not.
both backed it up. My parents have both backed it up. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a personal story. So when I was little, we were very poor, and there's a little hotel on a place called Boston Road here in Massachusetts, and it's called the Howard Johnsons, and I lived there for a year. My dad was the manager there back in the late 90s, and Mick Foley had stayed at the hotel right after, I think it was the DX pay-per-view, and because we had gone to that as well.
That was in
right
your
at-
house in 97.
In Your House 97, that's what I was 2. So in Your House 97, he had fucking stayed at the Howard Johnsons. You know, obviously he was going to go to a smaller hotel because a lot of wrestlers don't go to smaller hotels. So nobody's going to ever think, hey, you know, Mick Foley's here.
Well, he
my
always
dad-
saved money too on the road. He was smart.
Oh, yeah. My dad was working the desk that night and when he walked in, and obviously we had just gotten back from the pay-per-view or from the fucking live event. And yeah, he was telling him how big of a fan he was and how big of a fan my brother was and all that other shit. And I guess Mick had given us one of his old IDs, talked to us for a little bit, and gave us one of his old email addresses. Great experience.
And
Yeah,
that's the
man,
thing,
that was back
like,
in '97.
Dude, Mick has always gone, beyond for everybody that's
He's
met
phenomenal.
him, and such a nice guy. And some of the things I ended up getting signed while, I was out there. Had to get my Funko Pop here. Good old Mick Foley.
Hell yeah,
Yes,
love
sir.
it.
But not just that one, because,
You got
he's
the
had
whole-
a lot of characters throughout the years. So we got ourselves Dude Love right there, which is really cool. Because that's the big thing too about him. Like, he
That's
really
one cool
took the
dude.
time on the signature. Like, he added the red paint marker there with the heart for the love,
Hell
which was a
yeah.
really cool
That's
spot.
creative, man.
And
That is
then over
one
here,
cool
I really
dude.
like this one a lot. We got Mankind, my favorite of the
I
three.
love that he signed it in brown. Please tell me Cactus Jack is in yellow.
Oh,
Please tell me Cactus Jack is in yellow.
it's in yellow.
Yes! Oh, I probably scared the shit out of my cat, but that is totally fine. Oh, yes! It's in yellow! I am proud. I am so proud. Fuck yeah. That is probably the greatest amount of signatures I've ever seen And that was probably the greatest coordination I've ever seen done for like specific characters. The fucking light baby blue with that red fucking heart, beautiful. The fucking brown for the old school Mankind, beautiful. Fucking Cactus Jack, that canary ass yellow, dude.
Yep,
Fuck
with that
yeah.
wanted shirt that he always wore. Yep.
Bro, you have a gold mine right now of the Mick Foley collection. Like, literally, that is all of his represented colors for each one of those characters signed on each one of those Funko Pops. Bravo, man. Fuck
And
yeah.
the last thing I got signed from him, and this right here is definitely my favorite thing.
Oh.
Ringside Collectibles. They just announced, new Ringside exclusives. They have
Okay.
the Cody Rhodes with the torn pec in this series. They have a
Ooh.
Shawn Michaels from Royal Rumble 97. They got a Bret Hart from WrestleMania.
Is that when one foot touched the ground?
Nope, this was in San Antonio, Texas in
That's when
1997.
Oh, was that when did he eliminate Diesel? No.
Nope,
Okay,
I
no,
believe
okay.
he fought Psycho Sid.
That's who it was. Okay. All right, yeah, I got you.
So, this piece right here, this is the only packaging I like in WWE figures.
What up?
We got the defining moments.
Okay, that's nice.
Mankind.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's when he got
It's got,
thrown
like,
off the fucking Hell in a
yep.
Cell. Yep. That
They
is
got the
his
moment
most
right there, man.
That is the one moment that you will never ever not see or reference Mankind, because that was probably realistically that was probably the most replayed wrestling moment in history, because it was such a big fucking deal, because that was, other than Shane McMahon obviously redoing it later, years later down the road, that was the top wrestling spot, was the iconic that has still rung fucking stadiums to this day. Like, people still talk about it, and that shit happened in 97.
97. But here's the thing, though, about the Shane McMahon.
Like,
You mentioned that.
Yeah, when
There's
he
a
took the
difference
elbow drop.
between both of those spots, because the Shane McMahon one, under the announce table, they actually did have like a thing so
It was a
that it
mattress.
wasn't on concrete. Mankind
Mankind just dropped.
straight concrete and the guardrail.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, no, like,
I don't know how
always
he did it.
meeting Mick Foley when he comes to the area. Always have to take the opportunity. Such a nice guy. And thank you, Bill. Thank you, Zombie Hideout, for the incredible experience. And also, I got to thank
you
Heroes
for the Wrestling
Hideout for the
Classic.
experience with Adam Cole and Britt Baker, because it
Hell
went
yeah.
way better than I expected it to. And I definitely plan on going to more meet and greets out there.
Abso-fucking-lutely, man. Heroes Hideout and Zombie Hideout has really been two of the greatest. You wouldn't really call them
Nostalgia,
promoters,
I
right?
would say. Like,
No, you wouldn't call them
nostalgia
promoters, would you?
stores.
You
Huh?
wouldn't really call them promoters, would you?
No, I wouldn't call them promoters. I'd say more
Vendors.
like
Vendors, like to bring in like
Oh,
fucking...
vendors, yeah.
Okay, so vendors.
Yeah, vendors, that's fair.
Heroes Hideout and Zombie Hideout are probably two of the most professional vendors you could ever have, that treat their fucking celebrities that they bring in, superstars that they bring in, with literally not only the utmost kindness and respect, but it's always usually a very good time. I don't think I've seen one Zombie Hideout or Heroes Hideout situation where it was like it made news for how shitty it was. Except for I think
Well,
Heroes Hideout had one issue or something
The
like that.
wrestling conventions were always the big issue with them, but there's only so many employees, and there's only so many tickets you can sell.
Oh, absolutely. But Wrestling Classic actually turned out really fucking well. Like, that
The
was...
classics are fantastic.
Wrestling
Dude,
Classic
Zombie
was
and
so
Captain's
good.
Corner, they did a great job. They hit a grand slam.
I've actually been watching a lot of their fucking their happy hours lately, and they're honestly kind of fun. They're actually kind of fun to watch, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, dude, Nick always has a good time. But now
Support your local vendors.
support indie wrestling as well. But
Absolutely.
diving into the highlight of the week
Let's go.
in pro wrestling, man. And we're recording this on a Wednesday, so we haven't seen Dynamite. We haven't seen Friday Night SmackDown.
Nope.
But what would you say would be your highlight of the week this week in the
My
pro wrestling
highlight-
world?
My highlight of the week this week. That's kind of hard. Because not a lot has really stood out. I think my biggest highlight... It's honestly kind of... I gotta go with the bloodline again. You know, it probably sounds generic as hell, you know, like coming
Fair.
out because I feel like it's the easiest thing to go to, but it's true, you know? The more and more the story folds out, it just gets more and more interesting, especially with Jay really standing on his own and shining. I have a feeling like you might be right. You know, I have a lot of weird feelings lately. You might be right. I think Jimmy might end up screwing Jay at SummerSlam because we haven't seen Jimmy since. I think he may have fallen back in line, so to speak. I don't
You know why I think
but
that?
why?
So here's the reason why I think Jimmy might turn on Jay. Because let's be real, they don't want Roman Reigns to lose the championship just yet. I think we're setting that up still for
Mania.
WrestleMania 40. And realistically, if you want to get Jay out of the picture and you want to focus on another storyline with Roman, what better way than having his brother Jimmy just do something that nobody in Detroit is going to expect to happen? Jaws are going to be dropping. He's going to do a hypocritical thing, and he's going to super kick his brother, and that's going to be the big storyline for, you know, the next few months between them, while Roman can go into another program with somebody else.
Likely Solo Sikoa.
I think Solo Sikoa, I know it could happen.
Do you think it's going to be Survivor
sooner.
Series?
I think Rumble.
You think Rumble? Not Survivor
They're
Series?
they're gonna really take their time with it, man.
I have a feeling we're gonna see it culminate at Survivor Series. Like, I think we're gonna see the moment that we know it's gonna happen at Survivor Series, but the match will likely take place Rumble. Yeah.
Totally.
What if Jay shocks the world and wins the fucking Rumble?
That would
what
be
if
nuts,
Jay
man.
fucking shocks the world?
Shawn Michaels enters number 1, 1 foot hits the floor. I would mark the fuck out.
That's another person that Cody brought up in that fucking interview with Chris Van Vliet, bro. He's talking about how Jay was another kind of animal. Now that everybody's grown ass men now, like he's like Jay Uso is another fucking animal. I was like, I love the call outs he's giving because these are all the people that need to be respected right now.
That's right.
And he's really dishing out the names.
Main event Uso.
The only fucking person I throw that finger up for now is fucking Jey Uso. He's the only person I acknowledge now. I don't even fucking acknowledge Reigns anymore, dude. Nope.
I have to, man. I have to acknowledge our tribal chief.
No, the tribal chief is Jay fucking Uso, all right? That dude has single-handedly fucked up everybody in the bloodline minus his own fucking brother Jimmy. Like, other than that, he's fucked up everybody in the bloodline.
No, but that was such a great segment to end SmackDown. So that is a fair highlight of the week. It
really is. And it just, again, you know, Jey Uso is just built different now. And I'm so... Other than like Edge, Cody Rhodes, and a couple others, Jey Uso has just been sufficiently on my mind. Like, that dude has just had my sole focus since this whole thing started, including, you know, the very beginning when he was first started as main event Uso. You know, like I've loved Jay this whole time, and again, you know, there's something happening. Something big involving Jay is gonna happen, and it's gonna work to his benefit, and we're gonna see a massive push. But that's all I got for you.
All right.
What's yours?
Well, my highlight of the week, I'm going to have to say the opening segment for Collision last Saturday. I really enjoyed Ricky Starks' promo.
Yeah.
As a heel. I loved that whole segment. It made perfect sense. You had, you know, Starks coming out, you know, bragging about, you know, being the Owen Hart winner, beating Punk. Punk comes out with no music, being all serious. As he walks away, Starks makes the joke. Oh, your stupid red bag. I got my Louis bag. And then next thing you know, Christian Cage comes out because he's contractually obligated to show up at Collision. As he walks away, Darby Allin comes out, who's the #1 contender, and they build a perfect tag match for the main event of that show.
So who teamed with Punk and who teamed with Starks?
It was CM Punk and Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks and Christian Cage.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it was funny because Darby made the joke too, saying, "Oh, Christian, you don't even wrestle anymore, so it's going to be..."
You don't even wrestle anymore. That's fucking awesome.
Because what Christian's doing is, Luchasaurus is the TNT champion, but basically, like, he's holding champion like it's his.
Oh, so Luchasaurus is like his vessel, where in reality, Christian's the real champion. He's just holding it for him.
He's holding it for him, exactly. And, like, he's been, like, bragging
I see a feud
about
coming
it
down.
and stuff.
I see a feud happening. I see Luchasaurus turning face again.
Definitely at some point. But I did love how Ricky Starks stood out in this entire segment.
Yeah,
This is the Ricky Starks I have been waiting for on AEW TV.
that's some straight up 90s heat right there. Dude looks like he just came straight out the 90s. And I love it. I genuinely kind of love it.
But he's being himself, which I think even makes it better. He takes shots at the pillar, so that also made sense for Darby to come out because Darby is considered a pillar in AEW.
Along with
So I
MJF,
definitely
Jungle
enjoyed this
Boy.
entire segment.
Yeah, no, Ricky Starks, man. Ever since that promo he cut with MJF in that match, man, like I've respected him. And again, with the heel turns are a hit or miss with a lot of people. Ricky Starks, I feel like it's working. I'm not sold on Jungle Boys yet. We're still developing there, but I'm not hating it. I dig that. I dig that he's got heat, so he's doing it right. I just need
Jungle
more.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just need more. Other than that, like he's on the right path. We're going the right way, but I just need more. But again, heel turns can work out beautifully sometimes. Dominic Mysterio is number one. Like, that dude is the top of the top of heel turns, saving their careers. Have you seen
definitely got that right.
the video that surfaced from WWE of Dominic's first entrance and then his recent entrance with the North American title? Dom is getting fucking pumped, bro. Like, you can see where he lost his chub, and you can see also where they took the padding off of his fucking attire. The dude does not have any pads anymore. When he first got here, he was padded the fuck up everywhere to make him look somewhat bigger. And he was fucking stiff in the ring. He was stiff in his entrance.
So
The
comfortable
dude-
now.
The dude is a completely different person now. I'm like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Rhea Ripley ended up leaving Buddy Matthews for this fucking guy. I wouldn't be surprised if this became an actual thing. Buddy Matthews is definitely punching air, especially after the whole the hottest man I know, Daddy Dominic, she was gotta say dirty, but she definitely said Daddy, Daddy Dominic. I was just like,
Max Caster with the dissing.
I was like, bro,
That was great.
Buddy Murphy or Buddy Matthews is punching fucking air right now because I guarantee he does not fucking he knows there's a separation, but I guarantee he's finding it hard to see one because she's always traveling with fucking Damian Priest and Dominic. She's in a fucking completely different company. She's a top fucking star on that different company. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna be surprised. I'm not gonna be surprised. And he's strapped in gold now, buddy. I might be
North American champion, like you said on SmackDown last Friday. Ray, you could be the United States champion. You're the champion of the United States, but I'm the champion for
all of North America.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. I fucking, dude, I do want to take a second to really talk about Dominic. I know that it wasn't on the schedule for the podcast, but I really do want to talk about it for a second. If anybody has had the best glow up in recent years, it's fucking Dominic Mysterio. It's 100% Dom. And honestly, I kind of wish that he would drop the Mysterio name for this heel run, just because it's like, all right, you had your huge feud with your dad. You're your own man now. Just go as fucking Dom. Just
well,
DOM.
they have
Dom.
been going more on commentary and stuff, calling him Dirty Dom.
Or Dirty Dom. Yeah,
which
I know.
I think does work out, and they do keep the name Dominic Mysterio because I think
he
the
did
reason
hard time,
why
man.
they don't want to change it to fully Dirty Dom is because they don't want the heat that they were getting years ago by doing that, shortening people's names. So they keep the Dominic Mysterio name, which I do like, and they just pretty much, call him short for Dirty Dom, which I love.
I love everything Dominic Mysterio because not only is he selling so much better, his in-ring is just flawless. Like, even his frog splash is very Eddie Guerrero now. Did you notice that now, right? When he first did the frog splash, it looked almost like the tadpole splash that his dad does, where it's very stiff. He does the straight up just fly, and he fucking straight up jackhammers that shit and then slaps the fucking ground now. Like, he literally frog splashes just like Eddie Guerrero now. And it's crazy because I can't believe I didn't make this comparison at first. I didn't catch it. And I haven't caught it until recently, within the last couple days recently. They're doing an Eddie Guerrero and China fucking angle with him and Rhea. They really are. And it's working. It's fucking working. Because it makes it even better because not only are they both super young, they're roughly the same age. So it's like not only are they super young, so there's more longevity to the story, but Rhea is also, I feel like, a lot more feminine than fucking China was. So it's like it's even more captivating and compelling because it makes sense. Like you can see it. It makes sense. And they're really like they're really honoring Eddie's legacy. If I'm saying it, like they're really honoring it, and they couldn't have chosen the better person to do it.
Especially
like,
with
literally.
like the roars of boos in the crowd. Like every time I watch that and I'm doing a reaction, Eddie's so proud. Eddie is so proud, man.
I'm gonna say it. Dominic Mysterio is carrying on Eddie Guerrero's legacy, not his father's. He is 100% living his legacy right now. And there, again, is nobody better to do it than his illegitimate son / nephew / godson. And I think, honestly, Eddie would be super proud. I feel like if anybody could cry in heaven, Eddie's definitely crying right now because I never thought we'd be here again.
The inspired
I never thought
the China and Eddie's storyline with him and Rhea. It's fantastic.
His skill set, like I dig that he still uses the 619 and everything, but the frog splash 100% is Dom's move.
The three suplexes,
the three amigos. Yeah, like I feel like this is where we'd be if he was still around. Like this is the storylines we would have still been getting had he still been around. And I still ask myself, what would WWE be like? WWE rather be like had Eddie still been around. Like what would he be doing right now? Who would he have feuded with? What kind of 5-star classics would we have gotten? Eventually I kind of want to fucking fantasy book that. Eventually I want to. I'm so proud, I don't know Dom personally, obviously, but I've never been so proud of a second generational superstar. I've never been so proud because the dude is knocking down barriers when everybody said that he would never do it and couldn't fucking do it. He took one heel turn and that was
Speaking of that, I knew Dom would eventually, become a great pro wrestler and a great sports entertainer because
he just had to find his groove.
I followed his career after, he got out of high school and him, trying to become a pro wrestler. He tried training with his dad and it didn't work out with his dad at first because, that's his dad.
And he's on the road.
And one of the best decisions Dom made was going to train at Lance Storm's school where
I saw
a lot
his videos.
Of great pro wrestlers, came out of that school.
Yeah. I saw a lot of his training videos with like the crash pads, the crash dummies. Like I saw a lot of his his in-place running moonsaults. Like I've seen a lot of his frog splashes, his shooting star presses off the top ropes. Like the dude really put the work in, and now he's putting in the physical work because my God, the dude is fucking starting to finally take shape, if you know what I mean. So
he's very comfortable in his role, which is always good for a performer.
Did you see that fucking picture that surfaced of him at a live event with the NXT title and the fucking North American title? Dude looks fucking ripped in the arms out, dude. I'm like, this dude used to have two fucking each one of the fucking twin towers on for each arm, and now he's fucking tanked. I'm like, dude, what is happening? This happens so fast. It's those Celtic Warrior workouts, bro.
Those Celtic Warrior workouts. Go check them out on Sheamus's YouTube channel.
Hell yeah.
Great way
hard time, bro.
It's a great way before we get into the topics. So up next, we're going to be diving into Billy Gunn possibly retiring. Also, a AEW superstar re-signed with the company and some injuries. So we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling 67.
Hey, what's up, players? WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and you are listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast. And if you don't listen to it, then it's one-on-one with The Undertaker.
The biggest blockbuster of the summer, SummerSlam, is right around the corner. And We Are Wrestling will be live Saturday, August 5th, 2023 on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel for the SummerSlam Watch Along. So grab yourself a nice cold beverage, grab yourself a freeze pop, and come watch SummerSlam with the We Are Wrestling crew, Saturday, August 5th. We're back, and let's dive into the We Are Wrestling topics. So, last Saturday on AEW Collision, we saw a Trios Championship match. The House of Black faced the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. And after the match, we saw Billy Gunn taking his boots off teasing a possible retirement.
I hate you. I hate you so much. Why couldn't you just say Billy Gunn? You had to say
Daddy
Daddy
ass,
Ass.
man.
Be like the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. I'm like,
So before I ask you if you think this is real or if this is a work, what were your thoughts on this segment, watching it?
bittersweet. Bittersweet. It kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't ready for it because it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. But Billy Gunn never seemed like the type of dude to make any kind of announcements like, "Oh, this is my last run. Oh, I'm getting old. I can't hang. Oh, X, Y, and Z." He has never seemed to be that type of dude. He's always seemed to be, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna do my job to the best of my ability. I'm gonna make this fucking crowd feel. I'm gonna head out. And it's how I felt like he's always been. So this was a very Billy Gunn thing to do. And I'm glad that he did it that way. You know, I'm glad that he decided to call it quits when he decided to call it quits. He did it on his own terms. He felt like that was the right moment, and I support him. I don't think it's work. I think that he's genuinely okay now. I think he doesn't need to do anything else. I don't think he has anything else to prove. I think in ring, he's done. TV, I don't think he's done. AEW, he might be done. But I do see him coming back to WWE now for a couple DX things in the future. So,
Well, he definitely will in the future, but I think his contract is still, with AEW right now as, I believe,
No,
a
for sure.
coach or like a producer
for sure.
right now.
But I don't see him coming back to like TV prominently. Like I don't see him competing anymore. Like the dude for his age is in better shape than fucking Jeff Jarrett. So, and Jeff Jarrett is in immaculate fucking shape. So I think somebody at that age eventually wants to be able to eat what the fuck they want. I think they eventually want to hang out with their animals. I think they want to go and travel the fucking world and not have to put their body on the line in order to do so. I think people want to enjoy retirement after a certain amount of time, and Billy Gunn has been in that age bracket. You could never tell with his physicality and how he can go in the ring still. The dude is still doing Booker T moves way better than Booker T did at his last final good run. Like, the dude is killer, but it's time, Road Dogg doesn't wrestle anymore. H can't physically anymore. Sean doesn't wrestle anymore. X-Pac, I think, is just starting to kind of think about making some kind of return somewhere, even if it's like a one-off. Like, they're done, Like, they're at the point now where you can start working on producing, retirement, coaching, just coaching, more off-the-screen stuff. And I think that Billy Gunn has more than earned his flowers. And I think that if he really did want to put his boots in the ring that night, I don't think he would do it to stir the pot. He just doesn't seem the type.
The only reason why I have these thoughts that this could be a work is because I feel like if he was going to do something to end his career, it would be with his two kids, Austin and Colton. Even though they have, molded into their own. I don't know if I feel like this is the end because Collision, these creative writers that are, a part of, Collision and not Dynamite, they have been doing odd things with the storylines, and they have been doing some interesting television, like CM Punk with the red bag. They've been teasing it since the first episode of Collision.
Yeah, like what the
feud
fuck is
with
in
Andrade and the House of Black with the whole, Andrade's mask, how much that means to him. They've been building, a storyline with that. And I just think that maybe this possibly could be a work because I do think that, Billy Gunn, he still has a little bit left in him. Like, if this is the end, then, by all means, did it on his own terms. Thank you, Billy Gunn, for everything you've done in the pro wrestling business. He's created so many, entertainment throughout the years with DX. And I even enjoyed his, singles run after DX as the one.
See,
And
honestly,
with Billy, man, like, if this is the end, it's the end, but I don't know, man. I feel like we're definitely getting some type of storyline in this.
the reason why I'm cool with him just hanging it up now, and I really do think this isn't a work, he already did what he wanted to do with his sons. He already did. Like, that's why he was in AEW in the first place. That's why he was there in the first place. is he did it with his sons, and he's been there for a while. So it's not like he just got there, he already ended it with his kids. He was a part of their tag team. He helped coach them. He did a lot of spots with them. He's been in a lot of good matches with them and on their behalf. Like, it just, he already did that, So I feel like if this is it, then I'm more than satisfied with the ending.
Yeah, I am as well.
Billy Gunn is one of the best and the greatest to ever fucking lace a pair of boots, and he was one of the anchors to DX.
Dude, I love the New Age Outlaws. That was one of my favorite tag teams of all time.
With him and Road Dogg?
Road Dogg, Jesse James. Badass Billy Gunn. New Age Outlaws.
Billy Gunn. Badass, daddy-ass Billy Gunn. Absolutely.
But that's the thing I will say. If this is a work, man, I got to give credit where it's due to them.
Because it does feel kind of heart-crushing a little bit.
Because, man, the way that they did this was surreal. Like, it did feel so real, and this probably could be real. This could be a work. You never know in pro wrestling, which is what makes it so interesting, which is why, like us fans, We Are Wrestling Maniacs, we can have these conversations. We can have these discussions. And I think, with Billy Gunn, taking the boots off, I think having the house going up to him and like whispering in his ear and like hugging him definitely adds more real to it.
Yeah, you're talking about the House of Black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Buddy Matthews was like whispering in his ear. And Malachi
that's what I'm saying.
was.
And it was on TV, so I don't think it's a work, man. I think that was just genuine mutual like sign of respect and, kind of wishing him well.
But I think regardless if this is a work or not, this definitely makes things more interesting now with the Acclaimed, like what's going to happen next. And I think that's something that Collision has been doing better than Dynamite. I think that they have better storylines over there, and I think that they're doing better television right now.
Now all they gotta fucking do is just move it off of Saturday.
Exactly. That's the only issue.
That's literally it. But what were you saying though, the in-ring stuff?
Speaking of Saturday, while this episode is out, I will be at Collision in Hartford, Connecticut. So I'm excited for that one.
Hell yeah, man.
And then unfortunately AEW, they're not going to be coming around here for a while because they've done like shows like the past 3 weeks all around here. So,
they're going to be heading off to like the Midwest or like, West Coast shit like that. And eventually they're going to be in fucking UK soon. So they're for
And I'm going to make a prediction here real quick too. Speaking of Collision, Wardlow will be making his return in Hartford, Connecticut. Here's why. He's going to be at Terrificon this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, that's easy money right there. Yeah,
that's right. Before Dave Meltzer comes out and says it, before
We Are Wrestling called
comes out and says it, We Are Wrestling the Thorfith, it's gonna happen. On Saturday, Wardlow is coming back. You heard it here first.
Yes, you did.
Speaking of AEW just re-signed Roosh, and he said the following via Twitter. I started a new chapter in my personal and professional career. People doubted I could make it. Today, I want to say that I'm 100% AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, fans. And thanks to my LFI brothers. We can now rule the wrestling world. Also, his manager, Jose, the assistant, tweeted this. Roosh re-signed with AEW because of how much concern Tony Khan showed for Roosh's wife and newborn. Family is important to Roosh. Seeing how much Tony cared is what solidified the deal. There were other offers, but never any considerations to go. AEW cares. Tony cares about his people. How do you feel about this news with AEW bringing back Roosh, who, was teaming with Andrade for a little bit, and now he's been teaming with Vance?
So, 1, who the fuck is Roosh? 2, okay. 3, I can understand why he went with AEW. I more of a promise of being able to own your craft there. Because he does not look WWE guy at all, but they were interested. But what really concerns me, like, good on him for the whole family aspect. Tony Khan is a family man, 1,000%. He is one of the most understanding bosses on the period, and I'm not taking away from that. I give it 3 months, and this dude's going to be forgotten about and lost in the shuffle. Unless he goes to Collision.
I was just going to say, that's the only way I see this, working out for Roosh, because I actually did
and
really
Andrade's
enjoy
there too,
his
right?
run with Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade's in Collision, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, that would work. So yeah, if he went to Collision, great. Then you can X out everything that I just said. I don't really know Roosh. I don't. I'll probably have to check out a couple of his matches or something, maybe some work with Andrade. But, I'm glad that he feels as if he chose the right choice. 100%. There's definitely money to be made there. Tony's a fucking millionaire. Or even billionaire compared to his father, Shahid, I think.
Combined, they're trillionaires.
Basically, they could fucking body Vince McMahon. But at the same time, I am worried because AEW has a habit of pushing people and then just kind of cutting their pushes out of nowhere, and then they get lost. So I don't want to see that happen to somebody who has a promising career. I don't know Roosh. I don't know his situation. I don't know what concern Tony Khan had for the family. Like, I don't know if there was like a big deal going on. If so, I hope everything's all right. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't know him, so I can't really say much. But if he really feels as if he made the right decision, I'm happy for him. Like I'm with anybody that wants to win. I'm with anybody that, is happy to be where they're at. And I'm a fan of anybody that has a job and is passionate about it, As I've said many times before in this podcast, I'm never a fan of anybody losing a job, and I'm never a fan of anybody getting lost in the shuffle. So as long as, he has a promising story to go forward, I'm happy for him.
I think that this is a great signing. I've been following his career since, Ring of Honor before.
You be following mad careers, bro. All right. I'm not surprised.
Hey, there's a reason why they call me Mr. We Are Wrestling and the host with the most, baby. But with Roosh, I got to say, this, great move bringing him back. I think, definitely made the right choice. I know WWE has expressed their interest in bringing him into their, company for quite some time now. I know last year he did sign his first AEW contract, which he wanted it to be a short-term deal because he wanted to prove himself and he wanted to show that he deserves, a long-term deal.
That's humble. All right. That just made me gain like a mad fucking respect points for this guy.
And Roosh is a very clean, solid wrestler in the ring. He's put on some pretty good single matches. He hasn't really had any crazy, compelling storylines yet during his run with All Elite.
Is he cruiserweight or heavyweight?
I'd say like heavyweight. He's definitely a heavyweight. He's built.
I'm just trying to get an idea of like what his style is. All right, continue.
But he's very good in the ring, very fluent, very clean. And I think that, with the right storyline, he definitely can get over. I think Jose, the assistant, great manager to have by his side. And honestly, I was really getting behind him when he was teaming with Andrade. But then, of course, Andrade got into that, backstage fight with Sammy, dealt with some injuries. So, he was, suspended and away from AEW TV for a while. So Roosh kind of got lost in the shuffle there. But I feel like with Andrade being on Collision, we're going to see Roosh, now that he signed a long-term deal, get into the storyline with Andrade and the House of Black, I think. And I think we're building towards something.
Okay. All right. You know what? You convinced me. I'm going to have to peep a couple of this dude's matches and some of his work. But since we're talking about people, getting lost in the shuffle and people that have been off TV for a while, if you don't mind me bringing up another AEW superstar and asking what their status is and how they're doing.
Go right ahead.
How's Miro doing?
So on Collision,
I've always liked him. So
Miro right now, he's been on AEW Collision every Saturday. Yeah. He's been constantly on there. He's either cutting a promo or having a match against one of the lower card guys on Collision, so that they could build his
new stars,
dominance, and
that new stars.
They can start to build get away from like all the jokes and all that stuff that he did in his first run. and they want him to come
Yeah.
more serious now.
And more like Rusev, like the Bulgarian brute Rusev. Like they
Yes.
want to have him be a serious like tank character.
So right
Dude,
now,
fuck
Miro
yeah.
has just been, squashing people and cutting great promos.
I fucking love Miro. So it's like even in general, like obviously I was kind of like peeved and like annoyed like any other WWE Mark was when he just kind of came in and did the classic shit on WWE spiel as his first fucking promo, like every other WWE dude that's gone to AEW minus maybe fucking Mox. Like I'm glad that that's the route they're going because again, I've always liked Rusev. I liked him more as obviously Rusev Day rather than the Bulgarian Brute. I felt like as the Bulgarian Brute, he didn't have personality where he became, really owned Rusev Day. I feel like his
Dude, I love
personality
his
and
US title run as a
dude, he
heel.
really had personality. They gave him substance, he wasn't just he wasn't knocked by a fucking language barrier anymore. Like he'd been here long enough, he'd been speaking long enough, he'd been, talking on the mic more, he'd been getting more comfortable. AEW Rusev or Miro is not the same dude. So I'm curious as to what they're going to do with this fucking animal. Because I feel like if you can fucking do this right, Rusev could be the new Batista. I mean, Miro could be the new fucking Batista, not even Wardlow. Like, this dude has so much potential, and I'm a believer in Miro. I love his I loved his Twitch streams. I think he has it. I feel like it's criminal that I'm pretty sure he never got the world title, right?
Never got the world championship.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like he should have. Like, it's criminal that he hasn't been a world champion because the dude has it. Like, yeah, is English perfect? No, but we've had plenty of world champions with amazing runs that had a thick accent or broken English. Like it
Yeah, his
doesn't
English
matter.
isn't even really broken. Like,
It's not anymore.
He can cut
Yeah.
great promos.
He can. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I want to see a prestigious strap on this man pronto. Like, make another world title. You have the AEW world title. Make a heavyweight title. Like,
Well, they
take a
are
page.
setting something up like that because a
I'm
lot of
glad.
people think that CM Punk's red bag is
Has a
going to
title
be
in
the
it.
world championship that he never lost.
And it's going to be his design. I have a feeling that it's going to be the new title. Like, and if it is, bravo, because they need one for that brand. If Collision's going to be the fucking second runner-up for the second tier show, Dynamite and Collision, if they're going to be the Raw and SmackDown, you need a world title for that show. Period. You need it. I feel like Rampage is like the NXT. 100%. I feel like
A
Rampage
little worse
is the NXT.
than NXT, man. That's
But like,
more like
you know what I
velocity
mean
there.
of that caliber, because Dark is like fucking irrelevant now. So it's like
Dark's
Rampage
gone.
is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Ring
like
of Honor's the
Rampage,
new Dark.
basically. So you need a world title there. So if that's where they're going, beautiful. I wish I could fucking watch AEW now, but at the same time,
Highlights, man.
yeah, but I want to watch the show. Like I've talking to you more now about AEW, like you and me, face to face right now, genuinely talking about it has been making me want to watch it. Like even more so, like legitimately want to watch it. So, with that being said, depending on the date, I'll come over for that fucking show from where they're in Wembley.
Hell yeah.
And I'll see, that will be my first official full AEW pay-per-view.
I love
And
that.
I will come for the fucking live stream just so everybody can see how I take it in, because I have not seen one full of AEW show, period.
And I'm
And
excited for that day.
that
now.
is the most honest thing I could tell you, We Are Wrestling Maniacs, is I have never seen one fucking episode in full fruition of AEW, period.
So now to all the listeners right now, to all the watchers, you need to,
Tune
come
in.
to this watch
Tune in.
along for AEW All In, because Ben, for the first time ever, is going to watch an entire AEW pay-per-view, not even show.
So, and it's a big one too. It's a historic one. It's a WrestleMania level one. So, yeah, Wembley's not small. Wembley is not small at all. The UK are fucking nuts fans. So, I am genuinely like kind of looking forward to getting my head ripped off from the explosiveness. Like, I'm genuinely excited to see the show, and I know nothing about shit. I'm glad that I'm like allowing myself to do it because I love a lot of their roster, even their homegrowns. Like, I'm a huge Darby fan. I'm a huge fucking MJF fan. I'm a huge fucking shockingly Jungle Boy fan. Like, I
Oh
mean, like,
man, Hollywood Jack Perry now.
I see what you did there, you fucking piece of shit. I see what you did there. Oh, you're a piece of shit for that. But but no, I'm really stoked on AEW right now, and like what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling and what like I'm like, guys, I've been recently catching myself watching more of the highlights and watching a lot of the promos, the segments. So I'm like, is this happening? Like, am I feeling the tingle finally? Like years later,
That's
like
what
5 years
happens
after?
when there's no negative toxicity in here. This is a
I was like-
happy environment.
It is a very happy environment. Yeah, because I feel like this is the most stoked I've ever been to talk about AEW anything, and I think it shows. Like my enthusiasm is a little bit heavy today, I've noticed. And it's like, and it's been all day. Like even when I got home from work, happy as fuck. I got home from work and I cooked Ash breakfast, made her fucking coffee, set her up on the bed, fucking filmed all of my shit, edited it, took my fucking nap, watched the Chris Van Vliet podcast for our podcast. Like,
Man,
I
you're
don't know.
winning today, man.
I'm taking it in the dubs,
taking
bro.
W's.
I don't know what the fuck it is, man. I'm taking it in the dubs today, and I'm honestly living for it. So, bro, live on this high with me right now. I'm stoked to watch fucking AEW.
I'm living in it, man.
I'm stoked. I'm
But
stoked
I
on
want
it.
to add one final thing before we move on to our next topic.
Talk to me, brother.
Speaking of AEW, because we've had, I think, enough episodes now for AEW Collision and Dynamite.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this.
What up?
And I hope We Are Wrestling, they clip this to TikTok and all the socials.
Oh, you about to say some crazy shit.
I think I'm going to say some crazy shit.
Oh, he better go off.
I am noticing a difference between AEW Collision and Dynamite.
Mhm.
I'm noticing the way that these shows are being produced, they're being written, are two completely opposite shows. I feel like AEW Dynamite is just all over the place. It's like
night and day.
they pretty much like want to see like what sticks. Something happens and then like we get a real quick transition, like a millisecond later, something else is happening. And it's just all over the place, like very disorganized. But with AEW Collision, it's a nice pace. It's nice and slow.
I
There's
can
a
add to that.
story to it. It all adds up. It makes sense. We're getting solid storylines that are just not ending randomly. I'm noticing a huge difference between both products.
And I'm going to tell you why. Who's head of creative right now?
Oh, Tony Khan.
No, I meant like who is like mostly of that show.
It's basically CM Punk, Ace Steel, and all of his buddies versus the Elite, Colt Cabana, and Brandon Cutler on
that
Dynamite.
should tell you everything. Leadership is everything, and that should tell you everything. And it also helps that it was a brand new show, and the first episode featured the person basically helping run it, and maybe you should have listened to him coming in. Like, yeah, is the sole focus a little on him right now? Yeah, but the dude took an immediate L. One of his first matches in, took an immediate loss to Ricky Starks. That a move no one saw coming, and he's put Ricky Starks over because of that in his heel persona. And fucking CM Punk is a face. Who the fuck saw CM Punk coming back as a face after all of that crazy shit that went down?
Well, here's what's cool about CM Punk. He's right now doing what John Cena and Roman Reigns did, where he's like a face and a heel. He's listening to the crowd, and then however the crowd's reacting,
he gauges
that's
it, and
where he strives.
Where
like he took some
CM
shots
Punk,
at, New Jersey's hockey team. That was great.
Where CM Punk is really good at is he is very good at going with the flow and amplifying feelings. He is very good psychologically in the ring. He's on Seth Rollins' level in terms of psychology in the ring. The dude is a genius, and there's no denying that. Love him or hate him, he's controversial as fuck. Love him or hate him, CM Punk is one of the greatest to do it. I retract everything shitty I said to him because I was mad as fuck about all that drama going on. There's no denying it. I have huge respect for CM Punk. Am I his biggest fan? Fuck no. But I respect him, and I will give credit where it's due. He is doing an amazing job for not only himself, AEW's third show, and for all of these other superstars who have been hidden in the fucking excuse me, Jesus, ocean of talent that wasn't being used. And I think that not only does he have the right people on his side, He has the right roster. He has the right storylines going on. And there's just so much support. And everybody that I feel like is in Collision right now are all team players. All of them.
Yep.
All of them have wanted this so bad where they're collectively being like, all right, by only the sheer fact that we get to do this now, I'm willing to listen to everybody and try everything. And because of that, there really is a huge camaraderie in this one show. And it shows. Like, it feels like its own entity, you know? Like, you all right. So, long story short, Dynamite is driven by ego, where fucking Collision is driven by passion.
And I think with Dynamite, they're more focusing on the in-ring stuff, the spots, today's wrestling. But I think AEW Collision,
Collision's
they're
focusing
focusing
on the
more on the
story.
television side of things, and I think that's why it's more compelling
It's where all
for,
these guys thrive.
us. Because for us, we enjoy the in-ring stuff, we do. But at the end of the day, what sells these matches, what sells these shows are... Are you okay?
Yeah, I thought I spilled my drink, but I didn't. I'm sorry. Continue.
So what sells these matches, what sells these premier live events and pay-per-views are the stories. And
Absolutely.
with AEW Dynamite, they're more focused on the in-ring stuff, doing the spots, getting the holy shit chants. And Collision is just more focused on the storylines. And I think that's why a lot of us are enjoying
building
it
stars.
more than Dynamite.
Yeah, and building stars, because I feel like Collision, I'm not saying that it's, a show for new stars. I'm not saying
I'm going to
that.
say this, though. They've done more for Ricky Starks in 3 weeks than his whole Dynamite run.
Oh, and I'm getting there. That's where we're going right now. I'm not saying that it's new stars, but this is a place where not only can they own their craft and really like shape themselves, because then they can cross over to Dynamite here and there, do crazy shit, and you're more behind them because you know what the cost is. You know who they are. You know what they went through to get here. It makes it more exciting rather than just having this random guy in here doing a holy shit spot and then you forget about him. No, there's substance behind this dude now, and that's where the story is. And Collision. Collision is where a superstar is made. Dynamite is where you go to see that superstar do crazy shit, but then he goes back home and, continues to kill it there.
As long as they continue to just spread out the roster, you don't have the same people.
Ricky Starks is killing it.
I'm happy.
Ricky Starks is killing it right now.
You don't even need a brand
Killing it.
split. Like, they're doing a pretty good job here, I think, with what they're doing. And honestly, I'm impressed.
I like the separation between fucking Collision and Dynamite. I'm loving not seeing fucking Kenny Omega's crap lousy fucking mug. I think he's talented, but the dude's face just annoys the shit out of me. Same thing with Matt Jackson and Nick. Like, I can't stand the Bucks. I never been able to stand them.
For the people that love the Bucks, they can go watch it on Dynamite.
Exactly, and stay the fuck
And like,
off
if you're
Collision.
into the storyline stuff like CM Punk and Samoa Joe and the House of Black,
Listen,
you can go over to Collision.
I can understand why Danny is spewing this shit. With a little bit of background that we're talking about right now, I get the understanding of why he loves it so much, because I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm looking forward to seeing more highlights. I'm probably going to get off this and watch it while I cook dinner. But I can see why he's spewing the shit he is, because just talking about this with you is exciting. Like, it's exciting. And I can't really say right now I'm an AEW fan. I haven't seen a full fucking episode. I let that laundry just fucking air out. But I'm about to be, and I have a feeling.
Hey, but at least you're paying attention to the highlights. At least you're paying attention to that stuff. And you're able to, give more input now than you were able to before, which is good.
I would just kind of be the moderator and just add the generic shit. But now I'm like, there's substance behind it, because again, more so than anything lately, I've just caught myself on watching a lot of AEW shit, and it's just been a subconscious thing. And I realized it the other day. I'm like, I think I'm getting sucked in. I was like, I think I'm getting sucked in, but now I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come see All In. Now, when's that? September?
That is, I believe, the end of August.
Oh, end of August?
Like the last weekend of August, I think.
The last weekend of August. Okay,
and they're streaming it.
Are they streaming it somewhere on Max or?
I don't think so. No.
Oh yeah, because it's not ready.
Because they're gonna do like a bundle type of deal with that and All Out, which I do like that. But
yeah, because All Out is Saturday and then Sunday is fucking All In.
So I think it's like a week apart.
Oh, it's a week apart. Got you. Oh,
Yeah.
so you get to buy both things for like $80 and then like
Yeah.
one week and then the okay, got you. Bet.
But now, going back into your comfort zone, the WWE, moving on now to
Fuck you.
our next topic here. According to PW Insider, one half of the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions, Kevin Owens, has been dealing with a rib injury and has been working on it for a while now. It was noted that WWE officials were waiting to finish up the current storyline with Owens and Zayn before giving Owens a break to heal up. There is still no word on how long Owens might be on the shelf or what might happen with Zayn and the titles. Fightful added, it wasn't clear how much time Owens will miss, if any at all. What should WWE do about this? Because KO is one of the, key guys right now in WWE.
So I kind of had a feeling that there was something up because he hasn't been in the ring as much lately, and he's a tag team champion. And I've noticed that the titles haven't really been defended, and they haven't also really had matches. They've been more supportive, like roles in terms of like promo work and shit like that. I'm glad they're giving him time because KO is a fucking workhorse, and he hasn't really had a vacation. So I feel like this is kind of good for him, and he gets to heal properly. He doesn't have to work on an injury. Drew McIntyre worked on an injury for a while, and look how that fucking went. You got all of these guys doing it for the sole sake of the storylines, the money, all that shit. But
yeah, rib injuries are no joke either.
they're no fucking joke, dude. You take one breath and it fucking hurts. Dude, it sucks. And then when you try to take that breath, you lose that breath because of the jolting pain in your fucking rib. Like, it sucks, dude. To the extent of what it is, I don't know, but I hope he has a speedy and very comfortable recovery. I hope he enjoys the time away and, with family and his kids, his wife. Now, what they should do about the titles.
That's what I was going to get into.
Hot take? I think you're probably going to shit on this idea. Dan would probably give me his crap, lousy fucking, shit-ass fucking look.
We don't even need Danny here to just know what he's going to say.
Yeah, I already know I'm going to get shit on through the screen. But
you gotta love Danny.
Honestly, I want them to kind of bring Zayn back into the Bloodline story a little bit and give the title back to fucking Jay with him. I kind of want to see Jay hop back in eventually, in some capacity just for now, while KO's on the shelf. There's history there. They still talk about it. There's still segments, I don't see them just taking the titles off of Sammy. I don't, especially what it took to get them, what it took to get there. I feel like it would just stain the whole fucking push that Sammy was getting, and it would just, I don't want to see him get lost. And I feel like putting him with Jay would make sense, in a way. There's a way you could. They're not too far off the Bloodline story where they could. And who knows? Maybe that could be a great avenue. That could be a great tag team. We've seen the chemistry they have. We've seen what they can deliver emotionally. What if we bring this one full circle too?
That's the thing with,
like I said,
Kevin Owens' injury. I do, wish him a speedy recovery. I really do hope that, he does take the time. But now, with these tag team champions, they definitely have to make a decision here. And I think that they should, drop the titles at SummerSlam.
Son of a bitch. No, don't say that.
I think, they should write Kevin Owens off, injure him maybe before the match even more so that maybe he can't, go into the ring and take any bumps so that Sami Zayn has to defend the titles by himself. And, he can end up losing because, of course, he's outnumbered. And then I think what should happen while KO is taking this time off, Sami Zayn, I think, should be the one to take that championship off of Gunter after his honky tonk man reign. Once he breaks it.
Okay, I'll bite with that.
Because Sami Zayn, man, he's been so over with the WWE.
You can't
universe.
just kill him like that. 100%, dude. Yeah, I agree. You can't.
That
just
will
fucking...
help him. And Jay's going to be doing a storyline with Jimmy probably
eventually.
Once SummerSlam, that upset happens. So I think with Sammy, the best option for them is to just, have them lose the titles to, maybe Dom and Damian Priest.
Bro, you could fucking pull. You could pull the fucking London and Kendrick route when they lost the titles to Deuce and Domino back in 2007. London fucking injured himself, a rib injury, ironically enough. He fucking took the moonsault off the apron and smacked the fucking ground, and all the fucking wind got knocked out of him. He was out cold for the rest of the match. Kendrick carried that match for another 20 minutes. 20 minutes, it felt like. And he had a very same underdog type of story in that match because the dude killed it. And you could do that with Sammy and not kill his credibility. Like, you could give him a solid time to carry that match, to get beat the fuck up, to kicking out a million fucking times, have him lose, cut a sincere promo, X, Y, and Z, wishing Kevin the best. Say he takes that title off of Gunther. KO can come back as a heel and turn on Sammy, and we'll get an emotional story. Boom.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Bet.
Exactly. We just hit the nail on the head on that.
Because they were
one.
going to eventually feud anyways. So it's like this.
They were
honestly,
building for it. They were.
So you could still do that in that capacity. It's just getting him in a program with Gunther if Drew isn't the one that's going to take that title off of him. Because Drew hasn't been the IC champion in a while, like 2011. So
yeah, so there's definitely a lot of possibilities there. But up next on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we are going to be diving into Chris Van Vliet's podcast interview with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
I'm excited.
And of course, we have another AEW tag team we need to talk about, and our main event topic. So guys, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling 67.
Hey everybody, it's Hall of Famer Devon Dudley here. And when I'm not putting people through tables or testifying, I am listening to one of the greatest podcasts in the world. We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check it out. Testify.
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Danny Huckins, and the Load Rager Ben are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. We're back, and this coming week, we got lots of awesome content coming to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. We have the SummerSlam 2023 predictions. We also got my reactions. We even have my AEW Dynamite, Boston Blood and Guts vlog. And of course, we got the biggest blockbuster watch along of the summer, SummerSlam 2023, live in person. It's going to be Ben, myself, and a bunch of the We Are Wrestling extras. We're all going to be watching it. You're not going to want to miss it on Saturday. So we got a jam-packed week of content, Ben.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking nuts, bro. Like, leading up to these big 5 pay-per-views, dude, it's always an exciting time because it's like there's so much culminating, and like it's been a while since we've had lackluster cards. Like, I will say it's been a while. So I mean, like, we're on fire, man. Like, we got a lot of shit coming up, and there's so much content to dive in on, and I'm stoked to start the AEW route very soon because it's going to get even broader. So I'm stoked.
Before we dive into the Chris Van Vliet podcast, every week on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we do this thing called Comment of the Week. All you have to do is comment on any random We Are Wrestling YouTube video. To all the listeners, to all the watchers out there, this week we got not 1, not 2, but 3 Comment of the Weeks.
Oh, yeah!
And our first comment of the week, this comment was on our video that's blowing up right now on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. The whole curtain call that happened with the BCC and the Elite on Dynamite during Blood and Guts. And this, We Are Wrestling Maniac commented this at Play With 6 Strings. Said, WWF curtain call vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100. That is a spot on comment. Yeah, the only takeaway I would have had from that was obviously the spot at the end with the thumbtacks, but we already talked about that. But yeah, dude, it's nostalgia, and again, like it's nice to see a wall break. You know, like it's kind of nice to see kayfabe break every once in a while. You know, and kind of see a good mutual respect between, you know, your peers. So, and especially in the capacity that it was, because I heard that match was fucking nuts. So,
It was nuts, and I think a lot of the old school wrestling, you know, legends, they did not like that because of how intense that match was. And honestly, it does really give off the curtain call vibes, because after the match, they all broke out of character and they all shook hands. Even Ibushi decided to fucking take a random fucking bump for no reason. I think I'm more mad at that than them shaking hands.
that's what I'm saying.
But honestly, like, I gotta say, play, you know, with 6 strings, I definitely have to agree with the comparison there. And I'm sure on the comment of the weeks, we're going to be getting comments on this video for, like, the next, like, 5 weeks because of how much, you know, views we're getting on here. But honestly, I definitely see the comparison. Our next comment of the week is from your favorite at Alex Johnson 8464.
My man, what's up, Alex?
Okay, and here's the thing: a lot of you that are listening are probably like, "Why are you laughing at one of your We Are Wrestling Maniacs?" Alex
Because
Johnson?
this man is the horniest wrestling fan I have ever fucking come into contact with in my entire life. But my God bless his soul, he is one of the
He
best
loves Liv Morgan, guys.
people. Yeah.
And this is why we recommend a lot of the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that are, you know, tuning into the podcast to come join the live streams. This is how, you know, Alex Johnson, he's become, you know, one of our biggest We Are Wrestling Maniacs, commenting on, you know, all the Liv Morgan and women matches, making himself known with that beautiful tux. He commented this at We Are Wrestling: "I'm not feeling Rhea Ripley's title reign anymore, because she's interacting with the men's division way more than the women's division, and it's getting bland and stale and boring."
Okay.
This is going to make a great conversation, Alex.
Very great conversation. There's a point where you don't want to overdo something. You know, it was impressive when Rhea Ripley fucking gave Luke Gallows a fucking suplex, not a suplex, a fucking
Hulk Hogan slam, brother.
Yeah, a body slam rather, through a fucking table. Everybody was fucking impressed. Everybody
Just like when
was.
MJF gave the body slam to Big Bill.
Fucking awesome. That pop was insane. But anyways,
And the
Big
black and
Bill.
white photo on his Twitter.
Hey, I'm Big Bill. Anyways, that's so fun. There's something you don't want to overdo, is when you have a female wrestler that is as fucking strong and is fucking as dominant as she is, it's better to know that she can rather than have her overdo, because then where's the impressiveness anymore? It's gone. It's gone, because it's like the super kicks, Shawn Michaels' fucking sweet chin music. You knew the show was more than likely over. Like, the match was his. That's been overdone now. So I don't believe any pin from a fucking super kick anymore. I don't. Like, I really don't. It's gotten bland. So I can understand where he's coming from of it.
You can
just
thank the Usos and the
competitively-
Young Bucks for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can get
And Dolph
behind it with the
Ziggler.
Usos, but I can't stand the Bucks. But anyways, Dolph Ziggler was basically Shawn Michaels 2.0. So I can understand Ziggler. He is Shawn Michaels 2.0. Not was. He is, very much so. But I think I can appreciate this comment, because I think the same thing as well. It's like, there's plenty of women that you could be going at for the women's title. You could be defending the shit constantly. You are more than capable. It's true. You are basically the new China. You're the 10th
Better
wonder of the world.
storylines.
Yes, you have the 10th wonder of the world. You can actually deliver promos, unlike fucking China. Why aren't you doing that in your division? Why aren't you making your title more prestigious? Why aren't you focusing on putting these other stars over, even if you are taking the dubs? You could be the next Roman Reigns of the women's division, and you're wasting it. So I can understand.
Dirty Dom.
No, I love that angle. Fuck you. I love that angle. No,
Well, that's like, but
all
that's
things
like what
aside,
Alex is trying to say on here,
Yeah.
though, is
No.
how, like, she's doing more with Dom than doing more with, you know, the women's championship.
I can understand the shit with doing shit with Dom, because, again, she's part of one of the most successful stables right now. But at the same time, I would like her to be like, all right, I have this title. Who wants to smoke? You know, like represent Judgment Day. Who wants to smoke? You can still bring them out, but just handle your shit on your own.
She's been doing that, but it's just lackluster storylines.
It is like pick a fucking opponent and stick with it. Like have somebody beat your ass for a second and get you on watch. So there's a compelling storyline there, so you can actually have a build up. Because I don't even know if she's facing anybody else. Who's she facing at SummerSlam?
I think they're setting up Raquel versus Rhea.
For whatever fucking reason. Like she just randomly just started beating the shit out of him. For what?
Yeah, pretty much. But here's what I got to say about this comment. Alex, this
I love
definitely
Rhea,
creates a fantastic conversation here because I think a lot of maniacs, including myself and Ben, I feel like we've been thinking about this comment.
Yep.
But we didn't want to say anything because it's Rhea Ripley, one of the most popular women right now. And she's gotten so over within the past year that like a lot of us are just like, we can't say this out loud because we don't want her to go back to where she was. So I think a lot of us are just keeping that thoughts, to ourselves. And I think this definitely does make an interesting conversation. Here's what I think now. There really isn't much in the women's division for Rhea Ripley right now. And that's why I think I don't care so much that she's been doing stuff with Dom and, the Judgment Day, focusing on, that more than the women's division. Because let's be real, there's really nobody right now on her caliber on the Raw brand that, can do a compelling, great storyline. And I think
everybody's on fucking SmackDown.
But I think we're going to get there once Becky Lynch eventually, moves on from the Trish Stratus storyline. I think they are setting that up long term. And I think that's where things are going to get super interesting for Rhea. But I think right now she's in a solid position. They're making her look strong. She's in filler storylines, and she's also by Dom, which has worked tremendous. That's the reason why she is the champion. One of the big reasons is because of her chemistry with Dom.
Now, I want to see fucking one. I want to see some call-ups because I think we're due. I need to see some call-ups because
Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, definitely.
No, for sure. But, like, there is one match that I'm dying to see once another feud is over.
Nikki Lyons versus Rhea.
No. No, that's not where I was going. Do I think that would be a stellar match one day? Yeah, but no, that's not where I was going at all. And plus, she's on injury right now. She's not in another feud.
Should be back pretty soon.
I think she's got like another 5 months because she was on an extensive injury because she
ACL.
Tore her ACL. But I think I would be really fucking down to see her versus Shayna. That would be
a good one too.
Very, because that's too fucking.
But that's the thing, you could do that as well if Shayna beats Ronda in the fight pit at SummerSlam.
I'm fucking stoked. I hope they actually land actual blows on each other too. Like I hope they actually allow them.
They're teasing the fight pit. It's going to happen. I'm telling you.
I hope they actually Dude, I hope they wear their UFC gear because, like, literally, they're owned by fucking Endeavor. So, I mean, like, you could fucking pull out the cage. You could pull on your old gear, pull out the gloves and start fucking knocking each other, dude. And I hope they do.
Man,
I hope
Shayna
WWE
versus
just
Rhea,
goes
that
for
would
it.
be a solid storyline, too.
Hell fucking yeah.
Properly.
Hell fucking yeah, dude. And it's just...
But I think right now it's okay the position she's in. And I think the women's world title on the Raw
final
brand...
match.
It doesn't really need to be showcased as much as, it is right now, because I think more people are interested in the Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch feud. I think more people are interested, especially on the SmackDown brand with Bianca, Asuka, and Charlotte all fighting for the title. People are interested in the whole Shotzi and Bayley thing. So they have a lot of things going for them right now. And Rhea Ripley, I think there's nothing wrong with her, being in the back seat right now.
No, for sure.
Because there's really nobody up to her level right now. And if there is,
especially on Raw,
realistically, it's probably Shayna or Becky, but they're in, other storylines right now.
Yeah, and Shayna's on fucking SmackDown too. So
Nope,
it's like
Shayna's on Raw.
Oh, she's on Raw? Oh, fuck, that's right. Okay. Never mind. I
But
digress.
she's been feuding with Ronda Rousey.
And Ronda's last match was with Shayna in SummerSlam, so she's getting the heart out. So, she's going
So
back to
our
UFC.
last comment of the week is from @Andrew Quaff, 9717. And he commented this on my reaction to Collision's opening last Saturday. Ricky Starks is AEW's most charismatic act. He's miles ahead of anyone else on the roster. Cole, MJF, whoever. Starks is him.
Now we're basing it on heel work, you said?
He just thinks that Starks is him. He thinks that Starks is the most charismatic guy that AEW has.
Hate to disagree with you, bro.
I'm sorry.
It's true.
MJF is better. That's my opinion.
I'm sorry, but MJF is by light years better, unfortunately. Like, it's true. The dude is living kayfabe. Like, if you ever see him be nice to somebody, that is where it gets very uncomfortable. And that's where I'm done with pro wrestling, because it is officially broken. Like, it's gone at this point, because if MJF breaks it, nobody else has kayfabe like him. So, yeah, he keeps it alive. 100%.
And I'm sorry to say this, Andrew. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but Ricky Starks is a fantastic guy.
But
Definitely
he's still learning.
One of the best on the mic, one of the most charismatic guys. I will give you that. But MJF is still better, in my opinion. I think in the ring, he's better than Starks. I think, his whole character is better than Ricky Starks. I think, MJF, he's different on the AEW roster. There's not another MJF. Ricky Starks, on the other hand, you go to the other show, and I'm not even trying to diss Ricky Starks because I love his work. One of my favorite guys. But over there, like Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, they're kind of doing the same thing. The Miz, as, Ricky Starks, except Ricky Starks does it a little different than them. But here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, there's nobody better than MJF in AEW. I'm sorry to burst your bubble there, Andrew. But congratulations to all 3 Comment of the Weeks. If you want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, all you have to do is comment on any random video on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel to get your comment featured.
Hell yeah.
But now, let's dive into Chris Van Vliet's podcast Insight. So, earlier this week, he did this nice half-an-hour interview with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, because in case you guys have been hiding under a rock, we talked about this last week on the podcast. Cody Rhodes will be having a new documentary coming out highlighting his entire career from when he first started to when he was in WWE to when he left WWE to go to AEW, then coming back to WWE and main eventing WrestleMania. It's going to be an insane documentary, but with, this interview with Chris Van Vliet, Cody Rhodes dived into pretty much everything with AEW, his real heat with Seth Rollins, some things that he, would change during, his AEW time. It was definitely a pretty interesting conversation.
Yeah, it was really insightful. Like, yeah, we got a bunch of different topics, like even like as so far as like Vince talking about what it's like being a dad to a girl, fucking, just the overall like mood that went into the entire conversation, that it wasn't even like a meeting to like the last 30 seconds. Like, fucking Vince was like just so like open and just warm-hearted about like what he was doing in AEW. The fact that Vince was super knowledgeable. He's like, yeah, I saw this, and he just praised everything he was doing. And fucking Cody was just like, oh, and how receptive Vince was to everything that he wanted to do to bring this character over to WWE without really changing anything.
Well, that's one thing about Vince McMahon. Like, when he's wrong, he will admit it, even though he's an egotistical friggin' person.
And when he sees you as a top player, he fucking means it, and he'll do anything to get you over the moon. And he did that for Cody.
He
and
told Cody, you went out there and you became a star.
Yeah, like literally, he flew to Cody. Like him and Bruce Pritchard, they fucking flew to Cody. Like,
what a line from KO in that documentary trailer.
dude, like seriously, like the fact that he fucking flew to Cody is nuts. Like, who can fucking say that? Vince McMahon flew to my house to talk to me about coming back and bringing me back, my brand. Saw that I was a top executive and a reason that the rivalry company became as big as it did and was birthed in the first place, made a name for himself all over the fucking world. New Japan, Ring of Honor, fucking AEW, the Indies, fucking everywhere. And Vince saw all of it. And the fact that Vince McMahon himself, the same Vince McMahon that basically shit on this kid, acknowledges all of that and is really ready to send this dude to the fucking moon is unreal to me. So it just, yeah, I was stoked on that interview. I really was, because there was a lot of juicy ass insight on a lot of things. Like, it was all
Well,
just
we're gonna be
super
diving
interesting.
all into it, man.
Let's fucking
but
go.
With Vince McMahon, I gotta say, one thing that I really liked about this interview was, and I'm noticing this a lot, when there's, guys that, step away from WWE for a while and, they have that first conversation with Vince. It's very heartwarming. It's very, special. It's more than WWE. It's more than wrestling. Like, he wants to, talk personal with you. Like, he
No.
wants to talk about your family. And like, I really think that a lot of that, goes unnoticed. A lot of people sweep that under the rug because of, all the bad things Vince McMahon has done. And,
His creative as
with
shit.
a toxic, world of pro wrestling, we like to blame everything on Vince. And I think some of us, we
Ring of
forget,
Honor bails. Fuck you, Vince.
but that's the thing. Like, some of us, we forget the human being behind Vince McMahon. And I think, Cody Rhodes acknowledging that, seeing that side of Vince, I think is pretty cool.
I also think that played a huge part into Cody being so open to come back so quick,
Yes.
right after leaving AEW too. Like, almost immediately, only like 3 months after. Like,
Yeah, and
3
then he
months was all it
started,
took.
and that's another thing that I really found interesting throughout this entire, interview with Chris, talking about his executive role in AEW
And how
and,
wrestling took a
how much he had
backseat.
to sacrifice being in that role, to pretty much balance, doing behind the scenes stuff, being the leader, coming in there dressed up in the suit and like making sure, certain guys are being put over, but at the same time, focusing on his in-ring wrestling, pretty much juggling everything. And I liked
Yeah.
how, they went into that as well.
Yeah, that's something I like too. Like, something that I really took from the whole thing, and he's definitely serious about it, and I believe it when he says it. When he was like, yeah, wrestling took a back seat, and he's like, I wish I did it more when I was fucking younger, was just go with the flow, not setting a fucking standard too high for myself,
Yeah,
like,
and he wished that he did this executive stuff when he was more older and when he was,
Yeah.
his time was running out in the wrestling
Yeah.
ring.
And he was just like, he's like, I wish I would have been just more open, and just just put my fucking boots on, went out there, he's like, it could have been a completely different experience, but now it's like he was willing to put his love for being in the ring in the back seat and, wrestle like once a month, a little bit, maybe 2 times a month, keep his body conditioned, but at the same time, it's like, you're losing all that time. So it's like
The live events, how he talked about how important that was.
it's
too.
very important, because like you're gonna have to learn how to work a crowd, and how are you gonna do that on TV if you've never worked a crowd in front of one? It's like you're gonna have to do it. So it's like I really dig that insight into what he really sees that you have to do to succeed, and what he's done to change a lot of things about him. Because again, this Cody Rhodes is not the same fucking Cody Rhodes from 2007. This is not the same fucking dude.
This ain't
This
Dashing Cody
dude-
Rhodes anymore.
Oh my god, dude. Like, he doesn't have the Triforce on his fucking boots anymore either. I just loved everything about this interview, because we got so much insight on so many things. And it was only 25 minutes, and it felt like I was sitting there for an hour, because there was just so much shit they were talking about. Like, again, the real heat with Seth. It's very
That,
prominent. That was
I want to
very
get
prominent.
into that a little bit.
Yeah, that was very apparent that there is a dislike there because
I do
he
have the
said,
quote. I do have the entire quote here if you want me to read it.
pull it up, read it.
All right, so Cody Rhodes addressed his feud with Rollins and believes their days of facing each other are done. Cody said this on the podcast. Having Monday nights with him and I in a nice, competitive, who's the guy without ever having to be in the ring with each other, I couldn't ask for a better sparring partner in that sense. I don't want to wrestle Seth ever again, which that's the headline for, this whole thing. But that day, WrestleMania 38, he made a decision that's very important.
And he was very grateful for it, but he won't say what it is because he doesn't want to say too many nice things about him because they do not like each other. And it's
He still
unfortunate.
acknowledges him as a
Yeah,
performer,
one of the greatest.
which I definitely got to give him credit for that.
He even
because when
said
people
100.
have heat, people have issues. We see it a lot of the times with a lot of the old time, legends that do podcasts like Jim Cornette, Kenny Omega. That's like the perfect example somebody can make. But we see it a lot of the times where if somebody has legitimate heat with somebody, they won't call out the good because it'll
Anything to
take a
tarnish
hit
them.
from their ego. So I do like how
So-
Cody Rhodes is still acknowledging Rollins as a performer.
No, he called him one of the top 3 of all time to do it. Period. Like, and I was like, you know what? I agree with that statement because there's nobody psychologically better in the ring than fucking Seth Rollins or Randy Orton. Like, those are the 2 best psychological fucking people you could ever be in the ring with because they can, if there's ever a botch, the 2 seconds later, it's not even a botch. They fixed it in some fucking way just because he is ready. They're ready for anything. Now, I love that he completely outlined the fact that if he ever were to write a book one day, a whole chapter would be about how great Seth Rollins is. I love that he acknowledges that, but I also love the fact that it was very apparent that there's heat there because he even ended it with like, all right, I don't. He's like, I don't want to say too many good things about him.
I don't want
He's
to
like,
wrestle Seth ever again.
yeah, he's like, they flirted with the idea of being friends, but there's too much, and it's unfortunate that this is the cause. He said that there's no real reason. It's professional jealousy. It's professional jealousy, and that's
I think the
shitty
big
because I'm like,
issue
how?
between Seth and Cody, here's what I think. Because for a while, Seth has been on the backseat. Like, you have to remember,
He
the
was.
Premier Live events within the past year, before, like this recent push that he's had for the World Heavyweight title, he lost until he beat Logan Paul at WrestleMania. So WWE, weren't seeing the vision that Seth Rollins was seeing. So they end up, having Rollins lose to Cody, putting him over after, leaving the company, bashing WWE, which we've seen, track records of Seth Rollins, being a WWE for life guy.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't take shit when, other people bash, the place that's, putting a roof over his head, the place that's, feeding him,
He's
the
passionate.
place that gives him that platform. He's very passionate about what he does,
He's
what he
also,
loves, and I think
they're also both Triple H guys. So it's like, yeah, it's
exactly.
like, and you
But
shit
he
on him
probably
all
took
over.
offense. But he probably took offense to when Cody used the sledgehammer on the
And
throne in the
smashed
first
the
episode
throne.
of Dynamite. And I think when it's all said and done, it all comes down to Seth having to put Cody over not once, not
3
twice,
times.
3 times.
Cody won
you
all
had
3.
WrestleMania. You had WrestleMania Backlash. And
Hell
you
in a
also
Cell.
had the Hell in the Cell. And I think
feel
Seth
like-
did not like that because usually in a rivalry, you have 3 matches, and it's usually 1-1. And then you have the rubber match. So I think Seth didn't like the fact that he had to put Cody over, and I think that's what caused professional issues between
This
the
is a
two.
hot take, but I feel like had Cody not torn his pec, Seth would have won the last one. I had a feeling.
I
and
think
I
the
feel
last one was that Hell in the Cell.
that's what I'm saying. I feel like had Cody not torn his pec, Seth would have won it. And I feel like that pissed him off more, knowing that he was supposed to win it. And now because of this, and now he's wrestling with it, and he can't get more injured. Yeah, I got to put him over again for the sole sake of the story because he's going to be gone again anyways. But the fact that he had to do it probably pissed him off even more. So that's probably another reason why they don't fuck
Well,
with each
here's
other.
the thing. we've seen, wrestling politics be a big thing throughout the years in the pro wrestling business. And the
And
perfect
LA Knight is shitty
example
at it, apparently.
is Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, because Bret Hart had to
Yeah.
put Shawn Michaels over a few times. And that's why at Survivor Series 97, Bret didn't mind losing in his, hometown of Montreal,
Yeah.
but he already put Shawn over and over. And, he got promises that you're going to, Shawn's going to put you over, because that's how
Montreal
it goes
Screwjob,
in the
right?
business. That's how the politics work. You put somebody over, eventually you need to put that person over. And Shawn never put Bret over once. And that was the issue that Bret had with Shawn that led to their, issues throughout the years.
No, facts, 100%. And I'm glad that they
Man,
finally
wrestling
saw each other
politics is
recently.
legit.
And they finally fucking saw each other recently and had a little conversation and like gave each other a hug and shit. I'm like, all right, this is nice. Because the Montreal Screwjob is still a story that echoes through the fucking halls of wrestling to this day. It was a big fucking event.
Hey, but
And
there's only one world championship. Well, two in WWE, because you have two brands.
Mhm.
And when it comes to, being a babyface and a heel, there's always one top heel, there's always one top babyface. And that's the problem with Seth and Cody. They're both fighting for that number one babyface role.
it's kind of crazy, man, because
It is. It
it's
sucks
crazy how
that wrestling
history repeats
politics is a
itself.
thing, but wrestling wouldn't be where it's at without it, unfortunately.
It's a hard industry, bro.
It is, but I also did like, how Cody, acknowledged AEW. He didn't really have
Yeah.
anything bad to say as
Just
well
talked about his experience.
about
That's
it.
all.
And honestly, Chris Van Vliet, if you're looking for, just a nice conversation with a pro wrestler, Chris Van Vliet's podcast
One
is
of
the
the
perfect
nicest.
show for you guys.
And he's one of the nicest dudes. He's always enthusiastic to be there, and he's always positive. So huge shout out to Chris Van Vliet, man. Like the dude is one of the best the best to grace us with fucking content wrestling related. So
And it's
I
not
really like
just
him.
all, and that's the thing I like about his interviews. Like, it's just a conversation. It's not
Yeah, it's
about,
all
ooh,
wrestling.
let me get the scoop from this show or that
No,
show.
he
Who
just
do
has
you
a
hate? Who do you
conversation.
like? Just a nice
Yeah.
conversation.
He's like one of those homies that you haven't seen in a while, and he's just catching up with you. Like it's honestly really fucking nice because it doesn't have to be just like pure journalism. It's like just getting a conversation out. It's a natural conversation, and I'm always gravitated towards those. And that's another reason why I love Chris Van Vliet is because he's very human. Where you have a world of
Exactly.
celebrities, he's very grounded and he's very human, and I love that about him. So again, huge shout out to Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah. And speaking of heat, moving on now to our last topic before we dive into the main event. Recently, AEW updated their website with, their roster photos and stuff. And the tag team, Santana and Ortiz, which, Santana has been sidelined for over a year and a half with, a torn ACL. And, Santana and Ortiz, they've had, some previous heat going on where the two, had a lot of disagreements and they did have some issues. We don't know what the issues are, but over on the website, the names, Proud and Powerful, which is their tag team, are back up on the website with them. So a lot of people think that they squashed their beef. How do you feel about this news? Even though I know you don't watch AEW regularly, I know you're familiar with both individuals.
So one, cool shit. Love that. But two, I hate it at the same time because it reminds me that we are definitely in the world of social media and leaks. It would have just been nice to see it. That's basically the only thoughts I could really give you is I wish it was more of a surprise, especially if it is gonna like a reconciliation as well. Like I would have rather just see it happen and have people freak the fuck out because the pop would have been massive. So I'm a huge believer in pops, and I feel like that was what sets the tone for returns and resurgences and shit. And I feel like to leak something like that wastes it.
Well, I do feel like AEW, I think these are just the toxic, fans, doing their little research and then finding this out and it became a news thing. I think
Oh, you think it's
regardless,
just like
Santana and Ortiz, they're going to get
clickbait?
a massive pop when they come back because they are original AEW guys. They,
Oh, nice.
made
Day
their
ones.
debut at the first episode of Dynamite with the Inner Circle.
Oh, so day ones. Okay. Got you.
So here's what I'm hoping out of this. I really do hope that, this is true, that they both, squashed their beef because they both came up together.
Yeah.
They, were proud and powerful. They, started off in Impact Wrestling as, the new LAX. And, they had a pretty solid run over there. And then, coming to AEW, they were a part of the Inner Circle, which, was great television for when, they first started off. And then when Jericho, ended the Inner Circle and started the whole Jericho Appreciation Society thing, that's when Santana and Ortiz kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And then, Santana unfortunately tore his ACL, so he's been out of action. Ortiz has just been on the sidelines doing little matches here and there, but nothing too crazy. I think that these two, they're the best when they're together. And I think when they come back, I hope they're on Collision. I think that working with FTR, working with guys like that would definitely do big things for these guys. And honestly, with a lackluster tag team division in AEW lately, I wouldn't mind if Proud and Powerful win the titles.
Yeah.
Long
Hey.
overdue, I feel like.
Well, let's go.
Absolutely, man.
I'll ship it. Let's do it.
But before we dive into the main event topic for this week's episode of the podcast, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling 67.
What's crackin' everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, The Godfather here, and you're listening to, that's right, you are listening to We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check them out, man. Stay on that smoke train.
The biggest blockbuster of the summer, SummerSlam, is right around the corner. And We Are Wrestling will be live Saturday, August 5th, 2023 on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel for the SummerSlam Watch Along. So grab yourself a nice cold beverage, grab yourself a freeze pop, and come watch SummerSlam with the We Are Wrestling crew, Saturday, August 5th. We're back, and our main event topic for We Are Wrestling 67.
Let's go.
Jeff Hardy recently did an interview, and he wants to have one more world title run. So during this interview with Fightful, he said this: "It's the last run, the last good Hardy Boys run. I still have hopes deep within my soul that I'm going to have one more solo world championship title reign." Do you think Jeff Hardy has what it takes to win one more world championship? The last time we saw him win a world title was back in his last run with Impact Wrestling.
Excuse me. Yeah, and the last time we saw a real world title run from him was back in 2009. So it is very long overdue.
Oh, you can't discredit his Impact Wrestling world titles.
I have to discredit his whole Impact Wrestling in general because of the problems he was facing. I can't.
Okay,
I have to discredit
that's
it.
fair.
I have
fair.
to discredit it because of what happened at Victory Road was too substantial to be able to. Yeah, it just him versus Sting would have been incredible, and it really hurt my soul to watch because it was sad. More than anything, it was sad. So I have to discredit that. But the last real world title run for me was his world heavyweight title run against CM Punk, of all people, ironically enough. I think if he can get mentally there and he can put his demons in the back seat, and if he can get physically there and have a little bit more ring callus with Solo again, going solo a little bit more and doing some more singles matches, and really crafting that storytelling in the ring again, and really owning his old school moves, like really starting to sharpen those back up again, get a little bit more locked in on them instead of, freebirding it a lot, Don't do as many high spots.
I was
Leave
just
those
gonna
for
say.
leave those for like clearly memorable moments. Like, for example, Wembley. If you end up being on that card, that's a place to do it, but not for regular shows.
Don't jump off a friggin' 20-foot ladder
for nothing.
onto chairs and
No,
tables and all that fun stuff.
don't fucking do that. Leave that for like your last fucking thing if that's what you're gonna do. If you want to go out with a bang, fine. But while you're still here, make sure that there's nothing that can make you go backwards. 2, it needs to be the right feud. It can't just be anybody. It has to be the right feud.
Well,
3,
there is one feud that he did talk about wanting to, reopen, and that
Yeah,
was
I know.
CM Punk.
Yeah, he needs to go to Collision. If he's going to go solo, he needs to go to Collision, and they need to rehash that story. They need to get fucking personal, including Jeff. He needs to get fucking personal. And they really need to sell it. Like, they really need to fucking sell it. Don't get too fucking dirty about the personal, but get personal. Like, talk about your fucking days in WWE. Talk about, like, his struggles, but don't get too crass about it. Like, keep it classy, but make your point. And I want both of those ends. I want it to be 5-star classics all around. I want it to be a series of 3. I want fucking a 3-series 5-star classic, different types of matches where Jeff loses the first 2 and takes it in the last one. And I want him to have a wealthy fucking reign. And I want him to win the rematch.
It's possible, I think, especially if, CM Punk does, reveal a world championship in the red bag.
At that point,
that
the wheels
does
are
open up, the possibilities there.
Precisely.
But here's what I think needs to happen with Jeff Hardy's run. I understand, he wants to have one more world title run. It has been a while since he's had that. And that's when, he was on top of the world.
Literally.
So, of course, he wants that. But I think, Jeff Hardy does got to take it one step at a time. And I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done before he gets to that world title run. I think what needs to happen, he just came back, and I think just needs to continue, battling those demons. And I think, him and Matt Hardy need to come back as the Hardy Boys and I think try to have a tag team title run. I think that would be really good for them. And while this is all happening, Jeff Hardy won't be taking so much tolls because he'll be, having Matt Hardy by his side, but he can also sharpen up them tools so that when the singles run happens, which I would hope would happen in 2024.
Yeah.
That's when I would start focusing on that. But I think AEW would be stupid not to try to get the Hardy Boys to win the tag titles at least once.
And they need to do it against the Bucks. I'm sorry,
Bucks
but
versus Hardys,
I hate the Bucks, but that would be a fucking stellar match.
Even FTR versus the Hardys would be a fantastic match.
You got 2 technicals, and then you have 2 fucking literally like homemade fucking just rough around the edges, just extreme individuals. So yeah,
but especially with the popularity that the Hardy Boys have, you need to take advantage of that, and you need to at least let them win the tag titles one time,
bro.
Before Jeff starts focusing on that last world title run.
We have seen it firsthand, the type of following the Hardys have. Like, it's no fucking joke, bro. Like, it's no fucking joke. So I agree. 100 wholeheartedly % agree. Like I said,
think the possibilities are endless. I think Jeff Hardy in the right storyline, it could work. Right now, I can't see MJF and Jeff Hardy doing something. They have 2 completely different styles in the ring. Adam Cole, Jeff Hardy, that just won't work if Adam Cole's the guy. That's why I think Jeff Hardy right now, the best thing he can do for his career, he's got to focus on, the Hardy Boys' last run.
For sure. And
then get himself into the World Championship title run.
Yeah, because people think like, oh, the Hardys are about to fucking are done. It's like people, the Hardys are done, but not their singles careers. Like, Jeff is gonna go for the big one again eventually, and I hope it's against CM Punk. I hope it is, because if that's the case,
that's
you got
money on the table right there.
And Tony Khan would be dumb, and Tony's thinking about it. He is like, oh, CM Punk's back. Oh, Jeff Hardy's back. Oh, like, yeah, draft his ass over to fucking Collision and keep him there. Have CM Punk go through some fucking heads, have him give himself a wealthy reign. If that there is a title in that bag, give him a wealthy reign. And then, when it's time, host an open challenge. Cue the music. I'm telling you this right now. If you cue that music at the right time, with CM Punk as the world champion, I'm telling you, it's going to be an Edge type return pop. It is going to be a massive pop because you know exactly where we're going at that point. We're going down memory lane. We're going down memory lane, and it's going to be fucking brutal.
And that's the thing, like, even professionally, that would be really cool to see CM Punk and Jeff Hardy work together because
Dude,
they did have a lot of differences throughout
what
the years.
the fuck?
Especially with WWE. Remember when Jeff Hardy was fucked up? Those YouTube videos on Matt Hardy brand, and like he was going, CM Punk, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Loser,
Dude,
this and that.
Bro.
There's so much story.
Bro, what the fuck do you start with? Like, where does that interaction start? Like, who says what first and what is being said? Because
honestly, you could have, if CM Punk's the face, you could have him, you know, pretty much like try to be like sorry for the way that he was to Jeff in WWE. Jeff could take it personal, or if he's a heel, obviously, pretty much could take shots at him.
Listen.
Oh, I never respected you, this and that.
This is a
Fantasy
story.
Booking.
This is a story that is 15 years in the making if they do this in 2024. 15 years in the making. There were children that were born that are fucking teenagers that are in high school now that have no idea how special this fucking match is. That is...
Hey, Ben.
Yep, I'm done.
I might piss you off about this.
Shut the fuck up. Don't piss me off, all right? I'm riding on a massive fucking enthusiastic high. Do you really want to kill that? All right,
well,
you know what? We're on a
podcast.
podcast.
This might actually make you tune into AEW more.
Okay, what's up?
Well, in 2024, there are rumors about the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega potentially leaving AEW for WWE. So if, you know, they make the transition, we're going to have two shows that aren't crazy. So Jeff Hardy actually might be more focused into the world title.
I don't see that
run.
happening. I don't see Kenny Omega or the Bucks going to WWE. I don't see that shit happening.
I don't know. Cody in his interview is talking about how stressful it is to be an executive and, you know, wrestle. You think the Young Bucks and Kenny are sick of doing both?
Maybe, but they can just fucking wrestle and just say, hey, fuck the executive role. They can just say,
yeah,
fuck
but
the
they never
executive
performed
role.
in WWE, and that's everybody's dream.
I don't think they want to. I genuinely don't think they want to, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
they don't want to be in a cage. They don't want to follow the rules. They don't want structure.
They want to be able to bite people. Sorry.
They don't want structure.
So what is structure?
They don't know what that is. They don't watch
But
Collision
no, I
on
got you though, man.
Saturdays.
But yeah, it would be a fantastic story though. So
it would be. So I think
would love
like
that.
you know,
If
going
that's
into
the
this
case-
topic, I was gonna say I don't think Jeff has what it takes, but it's definitely possible.
It's 100% never say never, and we are in the land of never say never nowadays, man. But that's all I got for it.
It would be so cool to see Jeff have that moment.
And with CM Punk.
He just has to, you know, stay clean. Jeff just has to stay focused, and hopefully, you know, he can get there because it's not going to get handed to him. There's a lot of hungry guys on that roster.
Absolutely. It's just that feud needs to happen. So, yeah.
I agree. But is there anything else you want to talk about before we close off this week's episode?
No, I think we beyond covered it all. We're at 2:15 right now.
Well, some of it you had to use the bathroom and all that. So about 2 hours.
Still 2 hours though. That is a phenomenal show. That was
I think we broke a record here, Ben.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. But to all the We Are Wrestling maniacs watching or listening, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered this week. If you're listening, download this episode. Helps with the algorithm. Give us a 5-star review. Not just a 5-star review, but a best one review. If you're watching this, you already know the drill. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast 67, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow Ben and I on our social medias and other YouTube pages. All that down below. In addition, you want shorter clips of the podcast. You can't sit through 2 hours of us rambling about wrestling. We're posting clips over on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or X. I don't even know what they're calling it these days. The link's down in the description below. But of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.